Ay, ay, ay. I love that. Okay. I've already made other videos about this, but I might as well go ahead and include this. Um, I believe I told this to the American government or the Secret Service, or it might have been a Britain thing. We had just developed some steam cars that could go, that were 75-mile-an-hour capable, and even one that was 90-mile-an-hour capable. And I believe, if I remember right, um, I told the troops, I said, I ordered like 1,000 cars for them, and I said, and I don't know how they found this, but I said, I said, take care of the car. Um, I'd like to, I'd like to see it back in the same condition that you took it in, and don't go over 50 miles an hour. It was capable of going 75 miles an hour, but the roads weren't good enough. It's one of those things. I was just like probably 4 or 5 or 6 years old, very, very young, and I was giving my military like I think 150 cars at the time or something like that. The cars were worth like $5,000 a piece, so they were outrageously expensive at the time. This would have been like in 1980 or something like that, or something like that. I mean 1880 or 1880 about. I don't know exactly when you could call it, but we had just invented them, and I had just decided to build a whole bunch of them, about like 150 or 1,000 of them. I don't really remember because I built some and I built some more and I built some more, and then we upgraded the technology and then I built some of those. And it's one of those weird kind of things. Anyway, um, it's so weird because I played such a huge role and basically massively changed the destiny of humanity and the destiny of the earth, and massively upgraded everything by investing in certain things and doing certain things, and changed the world as everyone knows it today. Um, Pretty much in one lifetime, um, by inventing so much and changing so much and paying for so much, and also as a byproduct of funding schools and funding PhDs and doing all the research and then paying for all the research and doing the massive schooling system and raising education levels massively. Um, it was a big push. It was a big financial push. Luckily, I had enough money where I could get what I wanted done, and I kind of worked as a genius myself. I don't know if you can call me a genius, but I worked as my own thing, and then I didn't mess up too much, and I funded some stuff which raised education levels hugely, and then that had a byproduct effect throughout the world. And then I built a whole bunch of buildings, and then I encouraged um, countries to compete with each other in building contests, like who could build the bigger, better city, and they did that for a while, and they built some really awesome cities. Um, and this is all in 1800 or 1700. Um, anyway, though, I massively changed civilization as anyone would ever know it or ever will know it, and it was massively successful. And it's one of those weird things of who I was, who I am, what I did, what part I played in the past, and how I basically changed everyone's life. Um, it's funny how, like I say, it's funny how people talk about this dark evil emperor and everything else like that, and the family person and the great person I was, and how I built all these things. And it's funny how they call my churches, which are actually old factories. I mean, they became orphanages and safe places for people. And this is all ancient history. Um, the factories have been vacated for years and basically living on on donations for years. And it's funny how they longly lasted. Of course, they were kept up by some very good people, and they were built very strong. They're very old buildings. I can't even believe how old they are. I can't even rationalize how so much time had actually passed for the world. But anyway, I mean, it was because I was so busy inventing. Like, I was busy saving the world, fixing the world, making the world a better place for easily 700 years, just constant inventing, constant doing of projects. So, I never actually lived a real day. Actually, in time and space, my life was basically just one thing after another. It's really weird. It was kind of cool in a way because, but time didn't seem to really pass for me. But time passed definitely for the world apparently. So that's kind of strange. Anyway, though, and now hundreds of years later or whatever, thousands of years later, they say it's 2,000 years, which is weird. So anyway, it's I like watching the old videos and the old recordings and stuff. But I mean, children today don't even believe it. They don't even understand it. And I can't really, well, I mean, yeah, I guess you had to be there, as they say. If you were there and or you were one of the families that knew me or knew of me, then you would probably have a better idea of my existence than I do even. But anyway, most people don't really know. More people might know now. I mean, the internet and stuff, but yeah, it's funny because I mean, some people said that was just someone that was trying to live, and that they turned my back on people and or something like that. It's like, no, I was never like that. I always went to the front. I always dealt with things personally. But there was no war. I mean, there was just contests. It was fun. It was really fun. I mean, and everybody was working together. It was the greatest time ever. The time that I was in the world, involved in the world. There was nothing but love and fun, and things were just only getting better. But I was massively wealthy back then, and everyone knew it, and I was ordering things to be constructed, and civilization had a long way to go. It's funny to look back and you see these cities that are modern day cities, and it's like there's nothing there. There'll be one building that is the church, and that was really my factory. There'll be one building standing, and that's my factory. And there's nothing around, basically. It's just woods or whatever, clear cut. And it's like, yeah, that's my factory, man. I built that. Yes. And it was good. And it was expensive. It's a good thing I was mining metal. If I wasn't for the fact that I was mining the metal that was actually being used for currency, I would have never been able to afford all that. But I was. And I was feeding those people too. And I invented ways to feed them better. The plow, the fishing net, all those different ways. Also importing of trees, getting lemons to grow, getting oranges to grow, potatoes. Whenever there's a food shortage, I was like, all right, let's go. How are we going to do this? All right, potato. like we need something that grows in the ground. It's like, potatoes? Someone found the potatoes or whatever, or came up with potatoes. So I was like, all right, let's plant those. And I paid for all that to be done. And other things. I mean, everything. It was good that I was rich because every time I had a problem, I just after the initial time, whenever whenever there was a hunger problem or anything like that, I just I could just spend money. So, which is nice. It's nice to have money where you don't have to invent everything yourself, which I had been doing for a very long time actually. So, anyway. And then I like to do. It wasn't that I had to do it. It's that I like to do it too. So that's why.